Since the departure of Travis, Uber has been much steadier. The new CEO has been focused on repairing the relationship with drivers and improving brand perceptions with customers. Sure, there's still been a few controversies, like an Uber self-driving car killing a pedestrian, and protests against Uber from its own drivers and taxi companies would never really stop. However, compared to when Travis was in charge, Uber mostly stayed out of the headlines, which investors were very relieved by. So when Uber had its IPO, which is the sale of its shares to the public, investors believed the demand would be booming now that Uber was in safer hands. However, on the first day of Uber's shares trading on the stock market, Uber's dollar value decreased more than any other IPO on Wall Street since 1975. In other words, the public were not that sold on Uber. Now, you may be wondering if the reason for that is because Uber's reputation is still tainted from all their various scandals. But actually, the reason might simply be that Uber is still losing money every year. Sure, it's very common in the first few years of a business to prioritize growth over profit, just like Amazon did so successfully. But Uber is now over a decade old, and yet they lost $8.51 billion in 2019 and $6.77 billion in 2020. Just to be clear, if you started a business today and made a sale of $1 and did nothing else all year, you could legitimately claim to be more profitable than Uber by a huge margin. Of course, I'm being facetious here. Uber will argue they are simply still in the growth and expansion phase, and profits will come later down the road. But clearly investors aren't quite as confident. Sure, without Travis as CEO, Uber looks steadier and a more mature company. But at what cost? Without Travis's relentless drive for rapid expansion, his constant hunger for innovation, and his merciless desire to win at all costs, is Uber gonna stagnate? Are they still going to take on the world in the same way they had with Travis? And Uber without Travis is a little like Apple without Steve Jobs. Still very successful, but it will never be quite the same. It's unclear whether that's a good thing for Uber or not. But what is clear is that Uber is a tale of breaking all the rules and defying all the odds and somehow coming out on top. And whilst Travis has been kicked out of Uber, he's now a billionaire with an even bigger chip on his shoulder. So this may well not be the last you hear of Travis Kalanick. Question: how does WhatsApp make money? And how did TikTok suddenly take over the world? All of these questions and more are being answered on this channel, where you can watch all our business movies and documentaries totally free.